You are interacting with higher dimensions every day without even realizing it. Every thought that crosses your mind, every sudden intuition that comes out of nowhere, every impossible coincidence that happens in your life, all of these are evidence of a truth that quantum science is beginning to confirm, and that ancient spiritual traditions have always known. The reality you know, the one you touch with your hands and see with your eyes, is just a thin layer of a vast dimensional ocean that you constantly access without being aware of it. What if I told you that right now, as you listen to these words, your consciousness is navigating multiple planes of existence, picking up information from invisible fields and influencing parallel realities with every choice you make? This is not science fiction or mystical delusion. It's what researchers like John Wheeler called the participatory universe, where you are not just an observer, but an active co-creator of reality. Before we continue, do something simple for me. Take a deep breath now, and if this resonates with something inside you, leave a sign in the comments, just one word that represents what you most desire to manifest in your life. Think about the last time you had a strong intuition about something and ignored it. That gut feeling, that persistent thought that seemed to come from nowhere. Later, when everything went wrong exactly as your intuition had predicted, you wondered how you could have known. The truth is, you weren't guessing. You were accessing information from a dimension where time doesn't work as we know it, where past, present, and future coexist in a unified field of possibilities. String theory, developed by physicists like Green, Schwartz, and Witten, mathematically postulates the existence of up to 11 dimensions, most of them invisible to our senses, but constantly interacting with our three-dimensional reality. It's as if you were a holographic projector, living inside the very image you project, without realizing that the real source of the projection is in a more subtle, more fundamental dimension. Imagine for a moment that everything you see around you, the walls, the objects, even people, are like those three-dimensional images of a hologram that seem to float in space. Solid, tangible, real to the touch, but which in reality do not exist in the way they appear to exist. They are projections of light interference patterns encoded on an apparently flat, two-dimensional surface. This is exactly the nature of reality, according to the most advanced quantum physics. You live in a holographic projection, and your consciousness is simultaneously the projector, the receiver, and the programmer of the patterns that create this projection. Every time you change a thought, adjust a belief, or alter an emotion, you are literally reprogramming the frequency patterns on the holographic motherboard of the universe. Feel this now. Place your hand over your chest and notice the warmth, the pulsation. This beating heart is not just a biological pump. It is an electromagnetic antenna, 1,000 times more powerful than the brain, constantly sending and receiving signals from dimensional fields that science is only beginning to map. The invisible pattern of mental scarcity. Most people live trapped in a frequency of scarcity without even knowing they are tuned to that dimensional station. You wake up in the morning and the first thought is about what's missing. Time, money, energy, love. This thought pattern is not just a mental habit. It is a literal tuning to a dimension of reality where scarcity is the dominant law. Think about how a radio works. When you tune into a specific station, you are not creating the radio waves, you are just aligning your receiver with a frequency that already exists in the space around you. Similarly, when you hold thoughts of scarcity, you are tuning your consciousness to a dimension where that scarcity already exists as a dominant pattern. Have you ever noticed how negative people seem to attract more negativity? How problems seem to multiply when you're focused on them? This is not coincidence or karma, it's pure dimensional physics. Rupert Sheldrake, with his theory of morphogenetic fields, demonstrated that there are invisible fields of information that shape reality. When you tune into the field of scarcity, you literally download the blueprint, the architectural design of that reality, into your three-dimensional experience. But here's the secret: almost no one practices. You can change stations at any time. Right now, as you breathe, there are infinite other frequencies available, other dimensions of experience waiting for your tuning. Breathe deeply, and imagine that each inhale is pulling a higher frequency into your field. Feel how the air seems lighter, more luminous when you do this consciously. If you feel this subtle shift happening now, pause for a second and like this video as a sign that you are ready to tune into higher frequencies. How many times have you had a problem that seemed impossible to solve and, out of nowhere during a shower or a walk, the solution appeared complete in your mind? It wasn't your brain that solved. It was your consciousness accessing a dimension where that solution already existed. The Akashic records mentioned in ancient Vedic traditions describe exactly this: a dimensional field where all knowledge, all solutions, all possibilities exist simultaneously. It's like a cosmic library, but instead of physical books, they are frequency patterns, pure information waiting to be accessed by a tuned consciousness. When you relax the analytical mind, when you let go of control, you naturally expand your frequency and access these higher fields. That's why the best ideas come when you're not trying to force them. The veil of limited identity. You believe you are just this body you see in the mirror every morning. That is the greatest dimensional illusion that exists. Your physical body is just the visible tip of a multidimensional iceberg. You exist simultaneously in multiple dimensions, multiple frequencies, multiple realities. Australian Aborigines call this the dream time, a dimension where your true essence exists beyond linear time, where past and future are just directions you can choose to navigate. Every cell in your body contains the same amount of emptiness that exists between the stars in space. You are literally 99.9999% empty space, vibrating at specific frequencies that create the illusion of solidity. This empty space is not truly empty. It is filled with what quantum physicists call the zero-point field, an infinite ocean of energy and information that connects everything in the universe. When you understand this deeply, not intellectually, but somatically in every cell, you realize that there is no real separation between you and the rest of the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself through a specific focal point of consciousness. Think about how ocean water does not cease to be ocean when it forms a wave. The wave is a temporary expression of the ocean, but its essence remains oceanic. You are a wave in the ocean of universal consciousness, temporarily taking human form, but your essence remains limitless, multidimensional, infinite. Close your eyes for a moment and feel this truth. Feel how your body seems to expand when you stop believing in the limits of your skin. Feel how your consciousness can touch the stars when you stop believing it is trapped inside your skull. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to know things about you before you even speak? How mothers feel when something happens to their children even when they are miles away? This happens because in higher dimensions, there is no separation that we perceive here. We are all connected in a unified field of consciousness, as the double-slit experiment in quantum physics demonstrated. When an electron is observed, it instantly collapses from a wave state of infinite possibilities into a definite particle. Your consciousness works the same way. When you observe reality with the frequency of separation, you collapse the field of possibilities into that experience of isolation. But when you observe with the frequency of unity, you experience synchronicities, telepathy, deep intuitions. You are literally changing which dimension of reality is collapsing into your experience. If this is making sense to you, write "I am multidimensional" in the comments and see how many other awakened consciousnesses are vibrating at this same frequency with you now. Time as a navigable illusion. The past that you believe to be unchangeable and the future that you think is uncertain are just directions in a dimensional field where everything exists simultaneously. When you have a memory, you are not remembering something that passed. You are accessing a specific frequency that still exists in the quantum field as real and present as this moment. Similarly, when you have a premonition or visualize a future, you are tuning into a frequency that already exists as potential in the field. It's as if your entire life were a complete movie that has already been filmed, and your consciousness is the projector that chooses which frame to display at each moment. But here's the part that will blow your mind. You can edit the movie. You can rewrite scenes from the past by changing the emotional frequency with which you access them. You can create alternative futures by maintaining new frequencies in the present. Think about that painful memory you carry, the one that seems to define who you are. It only has power over you because every time you access it, you tune into the same emotional frequency as when it happened. You are literally recreating that dimensional reality in the present. But what would happen if you accessed that same memory with gratitude, with compassion, with wisdom, you would be accessing a different version of that memory in a parallel dimension where it has a completely different meaning. Elite athletes do this all the time. They visualize the perfect performance with such emotional intensity that the brain cannot distinguish between the imagined and the real experience. They are literally practicing in a mental dimension that then informs and shapes the physical dimension. You have this same power. Every emotionally charged visualization you hold is creating bridges between dimensions, bringing future potentials closer to your present reality. Take a deep breath now and think of something you wish to manifest. Don't just think, feel as if it's already real. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the fullness of already having it. You are not pretending. You are accessing the dimension where it already exists and bringing its frequency into the present. The more you practice this, the stronger the dimensional bridge becomes, until one day what was imagination simply collapses into your physical reality. This is not cheap, positive thinking. It is conscious dimensional engineering. If you are ready to start practicing this daily, subscribe to the channel now to receive more dimensional navigation techniques that will completely transform your experience of reality. The dance between order and quantum chaos. Your life constantly oscillates between moments of crystalline order and apparent chaos. You plan, organize, control, and suddenly everything crumbles into unpredictability. This is not a defect in the system. It is the very mechanism by which consciousness navigates between dimensions. At the quantum level, particles exist in a state of superposition, being all possibilities at once until observed. Your life works the same way. Moments of chaos are when you are in existential superposition, when infinite possibilities are available simultaneously. Moments of order are when you collapse these possibilities into a specific reality through your conscious observation. Most people fear chaos and desperately cling to order, without realizing that they are rejecting the most powerful dimensional portals for transformation. Think about that moment in your life when everything seemed to be falling apart. The relationship ending, the job lost, health shaken. In that moment, you were at a dimensional bifurcation point. Multiple timelines were available, multiple possible futures. How you chose to respond, the frequency you maintained in that chaos, determined which dimension of reality you collapsed into experience. Some people use these moments to jump dimensions completely, emerging into radically different and better realities. Others cling to the known and recreate the same patterns in different scenarios. The difference is not in external circumstances. It is in the awareness that chaos is a portal, not a punishment. Are you going through some chaos now? Some area of your life that seems out of control? Stop resisting. Take a deep breath and feel the chaotic energy as a wave of infinite possibilities flowing through you. Every particle of your being is vibrating with pure potential right now. You are like that holographic plate I mentioned before, being rewritten with new interference patterns that will project a completely new reality. Chaos is not destroying your old life. It is creating space for a new dimension of experience to emerge. When you embrace this, when you dance with chaos instead of fighting against it, you become a conscious dimensional navigator, actively choosing which reality you want to experience. Comment portal open if you are ready to see your moments of chaos as dimensional opportunities instead of problems to solve. The symphony of synchronicities. Synchronicities are not coincidences. They are clear evidence that you are interacting with higher dimensions of organization and intelligence. When you think of someone and that person calls, when you need information and it appears by chance, when repeating numbers constantly show up in your experience, you are receiving feedback from the unified field that you are in dimensional alignment. Carl Jung called this meaningful synchronicity, but what he was really describing was the visible manifestation of invisible dimensional connections. Each synchronicity is like a cosmic confirmation that you are tuned correctly, that you are navigating in the right direction in the multidimensional ocean of possibilities. But here's something few people realize about synchronicities. You can increase their frequency deliberately. The more you pay attention to them, the more they appear. Not because you are creating something that didn't exist, but because you are refining your perception to notice the dimensional connections that were always there. It's like when you buy a new car and suddenly start seeing that model everywhere. The cars were always there, but now your consciousness is tuned to perceive them. Synchronicities work the same way, except that instead of just perceiving, you are also attracting and amplifying these experiences through your conscious attention. For the next 3 days, commit to writing down every synchronicity you notice, no matter how small. It could be a thought that manifests, a song that plays with the exact message you needed to hear, an unexpected encounter. Write everything down. What will happen is that your brain will start mapping these dimensional patterns, creating new neural networks that further facilitate these experiences. You are literally training your consciousness to be a more sensitive antenna to signals from higher dimensions. Place your hand on your heart now and feel the vibration. This is your primary dimensional navigation device. The electromagnetic field of the heart is 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain and extends for meters beyond your physical body, constantly scanning and interacting with dimensional fields around you. The dimensional abundance protocol. Abundance is not something you attract. It is a dimensional frequency you tune into. In higher dimensions, there is no scarcity because there is no separation. Everything is available simultaneously to everyone. Scarcity only exists in dimensions of consciousness where the illusion of separation is dominant. When you understand this viscerally, you realize that fighting for abundance is counterproductive. It's like trying to force a radio station to play by changing the volume. You need to change the frequency, not the intensity. Abundance is already broadcasting on multiple dimensional frequencies right now. The question is, are you tuned in to receive it? I will now share with you the 3-step protocol for dimensional synchronization with abundance. The first step is to accept. Accepting means deeply recognizing that the scarcity you experience is not an absolute truth, but a specific frequency you are holding. Acceptance is not resignation. It is the conscious recognition that you are the operator of your dimensional receiver. When you accept this, you reclaim your power to change. The second step is to extract the gift. Every experience of scarcity contains valuable dimensional information about what you are ready to transcend. It is a map showing exactly where your frequency is misaligned. Instead of rejecting scarcity, you examine it as a scientist examines data, extracting the dimensional wisdom it offers. The third step is to redirect focus. Once you have accepted and extracted the gift, you consciously redirect your attention to the frequency of abundance, not through empty affirmations, but through a deep somatic tuning with the feeling of fullness that already exists in some area of your life. Let's practice this right now. Think of an area where you experience scarcity. Accept it completely. Feel it in your body without judgment, just as a vibrating frequency. Now extract the gift. What is this scarcity teaching you about your thought patterns, your limiting beliefs, your dimensional fears? Finally, redirect. Find an area of your life where you already experience abundance, even if it's something simple like the abundance of air to breathe. Feel that frequency of fullness and deliberately expand it, letting it positively contaminate the area of scarcity. You are literally reprogramming your dimensional receiver at this moment. If you felt this frequency shift happen, share this video with someone who needs this information. Every share creates a dimensional wave that amplifies this frequency of abundance in the collective field. The quantum mirror of relationships. Every person who appears in your life is a dimensional mirror reflecting aspects of your own consciousness that exist at other frequencies. When someone deeply irritates you, it is not the person themselves who is creating that reaction. It is a frequency within you that is resonating with something that person represents. In higher dimensions of consciousness, there is no other. There is only the one experiencing itself through infinite perspectives. Each relationship is a dimensional dance where two expressions of the one are exploring aspects of themselves through contrast and complementarity. When you understand this, you stop trying to change others and begin to use relationships as laboratories of dimensional alchemy. Think of the person who challenges you the most right now, the one who seems to push all your emotional buttons. This person is a dimensional gift in disguise. They are showing you exactly where your frequencies are stuck in limiting patterns. Every emotional trigger is a portal showing where you have unclaimed dimensional power. When you react automatically, you are letting that person control your frequency. but when you respond consciously, when you use the mirror to see what needs to be integrated within yourself, you reclaim your dimensional navigation power. You literally change the dimension from which you are interacting with that person, and miraculously, the person seems to change too. But it wasn't them who changed. It was the dimension of interaction that you are accessing. There is a secret that masters of all traditions know. The more you love unconditionally, the more dimensions of reality open up to you. Love is not just an emotion. It is the fundamental frequency that holds all dimensions together. When you truly love, without conditions, without expectations, you are vibrating at the frequency of the very fabric of the cosmos. You become a living portal through which higher dimensions of consciousness can flow into physical reality. That's why people who love deeply seem to have a magnetic presence. They are not just radiating an emotion, they are anchoring higher dimensional frequencies into the physical plane. Take a deep breath and think of someone you love. Feel that love expand from your heart to fill all the space around you. Now expand even further, including people you don't know, places you've never visited, dimensions you've never consciously explored. You are practicing dimensional navigation through love. If this resonates deeply with you, leave a heart in the comments as a symbol of your willingness to be a portal of dimensional love. Do you realize that you are never truly alone? Even when no one is physically present, you are constantly interacting with fields of consciousness, dimensional guides, parallel versions of yourself. That inner voice that sometimes seems wiser than you, that comforting presence you feel in difficult moments, that strength that emerges when you thought you had nothing left, all of these are real dimensional interactions. You are constantly receiving support, guidance, and love from dimensions that your physical eyes cannot see, but that your consciousness can clearly feel. The art of holographic manifestation. Manifesting is not attracting things into your life. It is collapsing dimensional potentials into physical experience through vibrational coherence. When you desire something intensely but cannot manifest it, it is not because the universe is denying it. It is because you are transmitting contradictory frequencies that cancel each other out in the dimensional field. It's like trying to tune into two radio stations at the same time. You only get static. Clear manifestation happens when every part of you, mind, emotion, body, and spirit, is vibrating at the same frequency. You become like that perfectly focused hologram, projecting a crystalline image into physical reality. The biggest secret of manifestation that no one tells you is this: you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. Your dominant frequency, not your conscious desires, determines what collapses from the field of possibilities into your experience. That's why people can do all the visualizations and affirmations in the world and still not get what they want. They are trying to project an image, while the base holographic plate is programmed with completely different patterns. You need to reprogram the plate, not just wish for a different projection. And how do you reprogram? Through embodiment, through the somatic incorporation of the frequency you want to manifest. Want to manifest financial abundance? Don't just visualize money. Become the frequency of abundance. How does someone who already has abundance breathe? How do they walk? How do they feel in their body? Practice this not for minutes, but as a new way of being. You are literally installing a new dimensional operating system. Want to manifest a loving relationship? Become the love you seek. Don't wait for someone to love. Vibrate at the frequency of love now with everything and everyone. You are programming your holographic plate to project experiences of love. The dimensional field responds to frequency, not words. You can lie with words, but you cannot fake frequency. The universe reads your real vibration, not your stated intentions. Now I will reveal something that will completely change your understanding of time and manifestation. In the dimensional field, everything you desire already exists. It will not exist when you manifest it. It already exists now at a specific frequency. The time it takes to manifest is simply the time it takes for you to align your frequency with the frequency where it already exists. It's like tuning a radio station. The music is already playing. You are not waiting for the music to start. You are adjusting your receiver until you can clearly pick up the signal. Some people take years to tune in. Others do it in moments. The difference is not in the difficulty of manifestation. It is in the willingness to completely let go of the old frequency and fully embrace the new. Close your eyes now and feel something you want to manifest. Not as something distant in the future, but as something that already exists in a parallel dimension accessible now. Feel the dimensional bridge forming between where you are and where it exists. The bridge is made of emotional coherence, mental clarity, and bodily alignment. The more you maintain this coherence, the more solid the bridge becomes, until one day you simply cross over, and what was desire becomes reality. You didn't pull anything into your life. You shifted to the dimension where it already existed, waiting for you. If you are ready to start building these dimensional bridges consciously, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any advanced dimensional navigation techniques. The unified field of collective consciousness. Every thought you think is not confined within your head. It ripples through the dimensional field, influencing and being influenced by billions of other consciousnesses. You are constantly voting on collective reality with your individual frequency. When you hold fear, you are strengthening the collective dimension of fear. When you hold love, you are strengthening the collective dimension of love. You are not just a passive receiver of collective reality. You are an active transmitter, a co-creator, a dimensional architect, participating in the moment-by-moment construction of shared human experience. This means your responsibility goes far beyond your personal life. Every time you consciously choose to raise your frequency, you are literally raising the frequency available to all humanity. You become a portal through which higher dimensional frequencies can enter the collective field. That's why a single person vibrating in unconditional love can transform the energy of an entire room. It's not just psychological influence. It's real dimensional transmission, measurable in electromagnetic fields, documented in heart coherence research. Your heart is constantly transmitting its frequency in a radius of several meters, creating a field of dimensional influence that affects everything and everyone around you. Have you ever walked into a place and immediately felt the energy heavy or light? You are reading the dimensional field of that space, the accumulation of all the frequencies that have been transmitted there. Similarly, you are constantly contributing to the dimensional field of the spaces you occupy. Your presence is not neutral. You are always adding your frequency to the collective dimensional symphony. The question is, what note are you choosing to play? What dimensional contribution are you making to the unified field? Take a deep breath now and consciously choose to raise your frequency. Feel gratitude, love, peace, any elevated emotion. You are not just doing this for yourself. You are creating a dimensional wave that will touch other consciousnesses, subconsciously inspiring them to also raise their frequencies. You are more powerful than you imagine. Every frequency choice you make matters dimensionally. Dimensional. Awakening is not a single event. It is a continuous process of consciousness expansion, of opening to more and more dimensions of experience. Every time you question a limiting belief, every time you choose love over fear, every time you follow your intuition instead of limited logic, you are awakening a little more to your multi-dimensional nature. There is no destination where you suddenly know everything and can do everything. There is an infinite journey of dimensional discovery, where each level of consciousness reveals new horizons of possibility. Your reality is an echo of your frequency. This is the fundamental truth that permeates all dimensions. Change your frequency, and you change your reality. Not eventually, not maybe. Instantly at the dimensional level, manifesting in physical time according to the density of matter. You are the conductor of your frequency, the creator of your reality, the navigator of your dimensions. Everything we explored today is not theory or philosophy. It is practical dimensional technology that you can apply right now. Every conscious breath is an opportunity to adjust your frequency. Every emotional choice is a dimensional decision. Every sustained thought is a vote for the reality you want to experience. You are not alone on this dimensional journey. Millions of consciousnesses around the planet are awakening to these truths simultaneously. We are at a unique moment in human history where the veil between dimensions is thinner, where access to higher frequencies is more available, where the possibility of collective dimensional leaps is real. You did not choose to be here by chance. You are part of a dimensional wave of consciousness that is anchoring new possibilities into human experience. Every time you practice what you learned today, you strengthen this wave, making it easier for others to also access these frequencies. The invitation now is simple yet profound. Commit to your dimensional mastery, not as an interesting concept to think about, but as a living daily practice. Observe your frequencies. Consciously choose your tunings. Use every challenge as an opportunity for dimensional navigation. Treat every synchronicity as confirmation that you are on the right path. Love as if love were the only frequency that exists, because in higher dimensions it is. You have access to infinite dimensions of experience. The only limitation is the frequency you are willing to maintain. Tune your frequency. Change your reality. You are infinitely more powerful than you have been taught to believe. If this message resonated deeply with you, if you feel the call to explore your multidimensional nature, take action now. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who is ready to awaken. And most importantly, commit to practicing a dimensional technique today. It could be a visualization, a heart coherence meditation, or simply the conscious observation of synchronicities. Comment one word that represents the dimension you choose to access from now on. Let's create a collective field of dimensional intention that will amplify manifestation for everyone. Always remember, you are not interacting with higher dimensions only occasionally. You are doing it every day, every moment, with every choice of consciousness. The question is only whether you are doing it asleep or awake. Choose to awaken. Choose to navigate consciously. Choose to be the dimensional creator that you truly are.